Hello everybody, today we are going to learn how to execute the program from the external place. And at the same time I will teach you how to create projects. Okay, in order to create a project, so something that can store many files, so something that can help us organize files, we have to click here, File, New, and then find the project. We want to find the console application here because we are creating console applications right now. Then click Go, Next, choose the language that you want to write in. Of course, we are choosing the C++. Then we should name our project, for example, first project. And then we should choose the folder where we want to save it. Right now we will save it here in our lesson 35. Okay, and then I will click Next. Here we can change the compiler, but we will just use the one that is here, and I will click Finish. Now we've just created a project. When we click on View, we can here show the manager of our project. As you can see, here is the folder, sources, and here we can create new files. For example, file, new, and then file. We can choose what type of file we want to create here. It can be the header, which is the library file, and other things like that. About that we'll talk in next lesson. Right now I want to show you how to execute our program from the external place. What do I mean by saying external place? Well, you know, our programs can be used by other programs, or they can be used from the place like that. In order to show that thing here, we have to type cmd when we click on the Start button, right, in the Windows. And here we can change the directory to D, then go to the path of our project, so here, maybe let's compile it first. When we compile it and build it, as you can see, we have here now two folders, bin and object. We will go to the bin, and here is the exe file that we want to use. I will copy that path here, then I will click right button here and then use the clay, which means paste. And oh well, we have to also say something like cd, change directory, of course, and then we are in that folder. Here we can use something like dir, which will say us what files are in that folder. As you can see, here is the first project, and we can run that thing. As you can see, here we got on the output hello world. So everything we do here, so for example something like that, we'll see after building the program here when we run it that way. As you can see, everything works fine. And maybe you know, maybe you do not know, you might have noticed that you can run programs here by adding something, for example, like the dash and then H, which should show, for example, help of our program. Or we can run many programs by adding other letters that will change the meaning, the thing that the program is doing, right? The way it is doing. And we can also do things like that here. Remember also that our programs might be run by other programs, of course. And how to do that? Well, we can create two parameters in the main function. The first parameter we can call, for example, argument C from arguments counter. That guy here will store how many things like that here will be sent to our program. So in our situation is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, we can send it to the output. So we can build and run that, and then do something like that. As you can see, we have 5 here, right? Okay. Because here we have 4, and that thing is just counted as 1 always. Okay. And after it, we can create something like that: character, then the asterisk, then call it, like for example, arguments values, and then 2 square brackets. So arguments values. And here will be stored the values that are sent to our program. So now I will explain how does it work. Well, maybe let's send all to the output. So we can use the arguments counter in order to send all that guys to the output, right? So it's really helpful. Now we can build it, and then here when I send it to the output, as you can see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things like here, and we can use the things here, right? So for example, we could check if one of them is, for example, dash h, and then send the help of our program, how to use it, for example, something like that. And how to do that? Well, first let's talk about that declaration here. Look, we can create characters that way: A, B, C, D, and we could just continue. Then we can send it to the output, for example. When I build it and run it, as you can see, as you can see, we are sending to the output that A, B, C, D here, right? And some other random values, because we need to also end that guy here with the \0. Now everything works fine. And this is one of version that we can create arrays, right? So it's like half of that, something like that. So this is an array of characters, single characters. And we can also do something like that. And this thing is just like assigning the address of the first character to that pointer, right? So and by sending B to the output, we just get all that sequence of characters, right? Okay. And we can just combine the two things to achieve something like that. Now I can just create an array of sequence of characters. So I can do something like and something else, right? So we have now array of sequence of characters. So now we can send to the output, for example, C of 0, and as you can see, it is being sent to the output. All right, it works fine. Cool. So this thing is like that because we want to have all the sequence of characters, right? So we can store here sequence of characters in array. Okay, great. Now I want to show you one more problem. The problem is with something like that. When I create something like that, and then create something like that, and when I compare that thing, so when I do something like if x is equal to y, what value I will see here? As you can see, it's 0, so it's okay. But what if the values are the same? As you can see, it's still 0. This operator is not working like you probably think on something like that, because we should know that the name of array is what? Name of array is a pointer, remember about. So this is a pointer, this is a pointer. What is stored in pointers? An address. Okay, so in pointers we are storing address. That thing here and that thing here is stored in different places in memory. Because they are stored in different places in memory, that things cannot be true, right? Because this is really something like that. We are checking the address. We are checking if the addresses are equal of that variables, right? Okay, so that thing will be 0. So how to compare characters like that? You know, normally when you have strings, so when you have string a, la la la, and string, well, let's call it a1 and a2, you can easily use the operator like that. As you can see, everything works fine because string is really a class. We'll talk about class later, and it is overloading, so it means that it is changing the functionality of that operator here. So that's why we can compare things like that when they are strings. But hey, we are getting here really argument value that are not saved like strings, right? So we have to know how to compare it. We could write our own function to do it, but there is one function that can do it already. It looks like that. String compare, so strcmp stands for string compare reason, and then in the parentheses we just send arguments that we want to compare, so x and y, and then we can send it to the output. You'll notice that the result is 0, and it's okay because str comparison, so string comparison, return the 0. When it returns the 0, it means that that variables are the same, they are equal. When it returns 1, it means that the first string is greater. When -1, it means that the first string is lower. So when I change that guy to B, you'll see that we have -1, right? Because A is greater than B. In the ASCII table, A has higher number, right, than B. Okay. When I do something, for example, like that, it also checks. Is right. And I change that guy to that guy. As you can see, we will have the different value here. And it is good to use something like that when we want to sort strings, right? Okay. So we know how to compare now that thing, so we can create, we can use that thing here. and let's do something like that. Let's get that thing into comment, and well, there might be times when we want to check if str comparison of argument value of I, and then it is, for example, -h, I want to run function, for example, show help. Let's declare that function here, and now let's define that function here, and that function here could do something here, right? Many instructions. What we can send to the output, it is this is so helpful that you cannot stand it, right? Something like that. And now we can build our program. We can run it now from here with -h here, and as you can see now we have in our output, this is so helpful that you cannot stand it. Of course, here would be some messages that would help us how to use that. And as you can see, well, it's not working fine still, because the str comparison is returning 0 when it is true. So we should do here something like that. If it equals to 0, then it's okay for us. Now, as you can see with the dash key, it's not working, but with -h, it's working fine. If anything here else, it's not working fine. When I give here -h, it is working fine. You can place that thing in any position. When we want to make sure that, for example, -h is on the first position, then I should also check the I, right? And in the same time, I equals 1, then show help. Otherwise, don't do it. So now, when I do something like that, it won't work. But when I do something like that, it works fine, because it is on the position that I want it to be. Okay, that's all that lesson. Thank you very much.